The Ellisville City Council concluded its hearing last night at midnight. Nothing was resolved. They're going back again tonight. So in between his round-the-clock research, Chet Pleban, attorney for Adam Paul, is nice enough to join us here in studio. Chet Pleban, good morning this morning.
No research. I'm just looking for Paul Martin. I'm continuing the search for Paul Martin.
Now, this is important because Paul Martin is the city attorney for Ellisville. You deposed him, and I think last week you came on the show and told us some of the things that was in the deposition and some of the emails that you found.
Right.
And so he's a key witness in this trial as to determine whether or not to impeach the Ellisville mayor, Adam Paul. And he doesn't show up last night?
Right. Well, he's called himself a witness and therefore disqualified from participating in this case. He called himself that early on. So last night, he was a no-show. But we knew he was going to be a no-show because I had my investigator sitting on his house in his office all weekend long. They didn't tell us until Wednesday afternoon where this hearing was going to be held.
Right.
So they confirmed it Wednesday afternoon. Well, you can't issue a subpoena unless and until you know where to subpoena the person to. So by the time we got that information, he flew the coop. He was long gone. So by the time we got to his house, he was nowhere to be found.
Okay.
Office is dark.
But
goodbye.
So you're not expecting him to show up tonight either?
Oh no! I think he's on an ocean voyage right at the moment.
So the one of the key principles in this trial as to determine the competency of Adam Paul, the mayor of Ellisville, the key witness is not going to show up for the trial.
Yeah. The mastermind of this whole scheme to remove the mayor is not present. He is nowhere to be found. The other individual who collaborated with Martin, Mr. Perillo, is there. He showed up last night, but I couldn't put him on the witness stand.
Why not?
So there you have it.
Why not?
Well, because the hearing officer said I couldn't.
Oh, that's okay.
I don't know the reason. I don't know. The reason doesn't make any sense, but I couldn't put him on. I wanted to put him on to show that this current council should be biased and prejudiced.
Right.
It could not be fair. Most particularly, Mr. Perillo could not be fair. Now, I don't know whether or not, for example, Mr. Pieper, at one point he said he could be fair, but he's also the same guy that said he never hired Chung and he never hired Mop.
All right,
so
back up a
unclear.
second. Back up a second, because this is really confusing. The council is going to act as the jury, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and they're going to and you're going to put on evidence and call witnesses, and then the other side, this Adam Paul, I guess, was supposed to put on witnesses and have his trial. But so you showed up for a trial, and the other guy wasn't there.
Martin wasn't there. Correct.
Okay, this guy Peepers is a new name.
Yeah, he's
for us.
One of the council people.
One of the council people.
And we took his deposition, and there was an issue preliminarily as to not only whether or not the council should be disqualified, but whether or not the lawyers, Messrs. Chung and Maupin, should be disqualified. And I've got nothing against them. I think they're fine lawyers. The question was whether or not procedurally, from the standpoint of the rules and regulations of the city of Ellisville, whether or not they were properly appointed. There is an ordinance that says if you want to employ special counsel, you certainly can, but you have to consider the names of at least 3 individuals, 3 lawyers. Well, that would be 6 in this case, 3 for Chung's position, 3 for Maupin's position. Clearly, we established that they only considered Maupin and Chung for the positions. Therefore, they're improperly appointed. Now, that motion to disqualify them on that basis was overruled.
How many motions did you make last night?
I made a motion to dismiss, a motion to disqualify the special counsel, and a motion to disqualify the council itself.
All 3 were rejected.
Oh yeah.
Clearly,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
now this Pieper who you have deposed,
right?
When they voted on these lawyers, it was a unanimous decision, correct?
Well, that's what apparently a document says. Well, it's a vote of 5 because there was one council person who was missing that night. It was a 5-0 vote. And apparently, according to documents that Mr. Maupin read, that document said that they had appointed Maupin and appointed Keith Chung. But this paper in a deposition, that sworn testimony, told me he didn't vote to appoint anybody. And I guess he was there. Maybe he wasn't there. I don't know.
So one of the councilmen, they say it was a unanimous decision to hire one of these lawyers, except now one of the council members told you he never voted, so how can it be a unanimous decision?
I don't know. I don't know. He told me under oath he didn't vote to hire these folks. Matter of fact, it was kind of a mystery to him. It was news to him that Chung was around.
Also, on a side note, this Pieper, who's up for re-election today.
Oh, yes. Now, with any amount of luck, he will see his last days.
Does he know these attorneys?
Oh, yeah. Well, at first he said, no, I don't know Chung. Then, of course, later on, he said, well, I play golf with Chung. I said, well, wait a minute. I thought you said you didn't know Chung. Well, no, I mean, I really don't, but I played golf with him 2 or 3 times, whatever it was. So I said, okay. And now, again, this is the same guy but he didn't vote for Chung, didn't vote for anybody, I guess. I don't know. That's what he said. But he also said he could be fair and impartial. Now, whether he can or can't, I don't know.
There is a new allegation, Chet Pleban, that your client, Adam Paul, has been running from a deposition. And from what I understand talking to you, that's a new charge as a reason to impeach him?
Yeah, that's a brand new charge that we got an hour before the hearing began. And what they said was, well, he was served with a subpoena to appear for a deposition and didn't appear for the deposition, which is factually inaccurate. But notwithstanding that, so I said, okay, I object to this late hour adding that charge. And they kind of made short shrift of that and said, overruled, we're adding the charge. I said, okay, now that we've added the charge, according to the charter, he's got an additional 30 days to prepare. And I'm actually okay with that because that takes us into May, and I get rid of the biased and prejudiced counsel people who prejudge this case. So I'm fine with that. We can go ahead and argue the subpoena case. I got no problem arguing that. I just want to do it in front of a fair and impartial body.
Okay, so the acting judge in this is then this Chung, right?
No, that's Maupin.
Maupin's the acting judge.
That's right.
Okay, so when you make the motion to, because we have a new charge, we now get 30 days.
Right.
What does Maupin say to that?
Overruled.
Overruled.
Overruled. It's real simple. Overruled.
Right.
Hit the road. Now, you understand, Maupin, as the hearing officer, is supposed to be a kind of like a judge. So he's supposed to rule on issues, rule on objections, legal issues, those sorts of things. But at the same time, he is also representing the counsel. And so my position is, how can you serve two masters? I mean, you can't serve the counsel at the same time that you're fair and impartial. When you represent a client, it's not that you're going to be fair and impartial. You're advocating for that particular client. And the most disturbing part about last night was that we had asked for emails, any documents that the city had given to Maupin regarding any issue. Of the impeachment of Adam Paul. He produced 2 flimsy little documents, which were an email and his appointment to the position. That was, I guess, March the 18th, or March the 20th, rather. Well, lo and behold, later on, and he said he looked for documents, and these are the only 2 that he had. Well, lo and behold, we find a document, an email dated March the 4th from Martin to Maupin.
Okay, Martin is the
city attorney.
The city attorney who is now AOL.
MIA.
Right.
Yeah,
okay,
MIA. And Martin to Maupin, the hearing officer, dated March the 4th, in which he gives him what are called findings of fact and conclusions of law. What that is the decision for the counsel based upon a factual analysis and a judgment. Now, the factual analysis, this is March 4th, okay? Right. The hearing hasn't happened yet. There isn't one slim piece of evidence that's been presented anywhere. And the decision that he writes on March the 4th, before any piece of evidence is disclosed, it is the judgment of the council of the city of Ellisville that Mayor Adam Paul shall forfeit and is hereby removed from the office of mayor of the city of Ellisville, effective immediately for the commission of the noted acts of misfeasance, malfeasance, and nonfeasance in the administration of his office.
It sounds like a scene from like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Well, but but in fairness to Mr. Martin, the next paragraph says, it is also the judgment of the council that having knowledge of the acts of Adam Paul's misfeasance, malfeasance, and nonfeasance in the administration of his office and at or shortly after their commission, does hereby concede it's prejudgment of the issues presented at the hearing. So here's a guy on March the 4th said, here's the evidence, here's the facts. Now, no evidence has been presented. Here, Mr. Maupin, as the hearing officer, here's what you should decide. Here's the evidence. Here's the facts. And oh, by the way, that your clients, my former clients, I guess, or my clients, have prejudged the matter. That's a given. So here it is. Go for it. Now, remember, Martin has said prior to March the 4th, he's disqualified. He is disqualified from this case. What he's doing, sending these findings to the so-called judge who's going to decide this case, is a mystery to me, and it's despicable.
All right. That's Chet Pleban. Can you hold on through the break?
Yeah, sure.
I know you're tired. You got in late last night, and they're going to do it again tonight, right?
Not my first late at night. This is not my first rodeo.
9:20.
Not in court, though.
More with Chet Pleban on Big 550.